I don't know about you, but I hate doing the dishes, so I'd much rather eat out. But what if I told you there's an easier way to eat healthy, whole, and nutritious foods at home? To cook at home. A way that doesn't require you to cook every single day and climb a mountain of dishes every night before you go to bed. Wouldn't that be awesome, right? Well, guess what? It's called meal planning and prepping. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you what myself and my husband do to meal prep and plan, well, meal plan and then meal prep, and then give you some alternative ideas that may work for you. And before we do that, please take some time to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and ring that bell notification so you can stay up to date on all things faith, fitness, and food. I will wait. I'm CoachBri, an ISSA certified personal trainer and precision nutrition certified level 1 nutrition coach. And in case you didn't know, you're watching Holy Health episode 12. Prepare your outside work. Make it fit for yourself in the field. And afterward, build your house. Now, what on earth does Proverbs 24:27 have to do with meal planning and prepping? It's not like we're building a house. Yes, but we are building a home. Hopefully a healthy and happy and holy home. Now, this verse is about planning. Not just planning to build a house, but planning in all things that we aspire to do. Giving ourselves a sense of direction. Well, really, we submit this plan to God, so ultimately God's giving us direction. Man makes plans, but God directs his steps. Or man makes plans and God laughs. Such a cheesy little phrase, but it's very accurate. And yes, this applies to meal planning. So just give me a moment to hash this out for you. It's a Tuesday evening. You've had a long day at work. You've had to work extra hours and you are exhausted. You haven't had any time to figure out what you are going to eat, nor any time to even go and get the ingredients to be able to make something. Now, your best option at this point is DoorDash or to stop at a fast food restaurant on the way home and pick something up, which ultimately costs you more money than buying a bag full of groceries that could make you many meals for many days. And not to mention, it's probably going to be unhealthy food. And that unhealthy food is what's killing you slowly. So what can you do instead? That's right, you can plan your meals and then prep them in advance, saving you the headache of trying to figure out what to eat and how to stay healthy on a busy schedule. Let's start with meal planning. So my husband and I are pretty simple beings. We are okay rotating through the same meals every few months or for a few months at a time and then switching it up. So what does that really look like? Well, I'm sorry to say this, gents. Plug your ears. But I'm going to mention this again. It's all according to my monthly cycle. And I know that the week before Strawberry Week and the week during Strawberry Week, I need to eat a lot more red meat. So we usually plan to eat red meat. And then after Strawberry Week, we plan to eat chicken. Saves us a little money on the front end so that we can pay more for the beef on the back end. You get what I'm saying. And then every other week, we'll add like a starchy carb. So we'll do like mac and cheese, homemade mac and cheese, homemade pizza with, pizza crust I make myself, homemade soda bread for burgers or something like that. Just to kind of get a starchy carb in there every once in a while. My husband's a rice guy, so he makes rice. Rice doesn't like me, even though I like it. So that's a no-go for me. But we always include a green veggie with every meal. sometimes that is our main carb, and sometimes it's just one of our secondary or our primary carb, and then the starchy carb is the secondary carb. Regardless, we end up grocery shopping and meal prepping twice a week. And this way we get the freshest food, the freshest ingredients, and then we don't hit that slump in the middle of the week where we're like, I'm tired of eating the same thing. And then it just sits in the fridge and gets rotten and you go and you eat out anyway, right? So we avoid that by grocery shopping twice a week. Now, that doesn't work for everybody, but it works for us and it might work for you too. So from here, we sit down either once a month or every week to decide what we would like to meal prep and when. Well, one thing I have done in the past is create a meal planning binder. In the front of it, I have this blank calendar that I put in one of these little plastic sheets. You can see I've written on it in the past. But I put it in this plastic sheet, and then I take a dry erase marker, and every time I sit down to do my meal planning, I just erase it and restart. Yeah, you can get this on your computer for free. So pretty simple there. After that, it's just a whole bunch of recipes that I like and dislike. So you can do something like this if you're a little bit extra like I used to be, or your brain doesn't work like mine does. Really, you can make that calendar off of Microsoft Excel. You can go to Apple's Numbers app and find the calendar there and just make sure it's blank and then slip it in that sheet like I said. And then from there, once you kind of plan, you can do this once a month or you can do this once a week. You can plan the week out or you can plan the whole month out. But you can pick your days when you're going to go grocery shopping. And then you're going to pick your days when you're going to meal prep. And those days should be either the same day or meal prepping should be like the next day after grocery shopping at the latest. So if you want to like on your way home from work, grab the groceries for meal prep the next day, beautiful. You can start first things first by picking your protein and then your veggie, your green veggie specifically, and then your starchy carbs if you're going to do a starchy carb. Then you write that down and then you write what type of fat that you want to cook everything in, such as like beef, tallow, or butter. And then from there, you just make a grocery list. What groceries do I need to get this week? What days do I need to get these groceries? And then you can kind of budget it out from there, figuring out which grocery store is got the best deal on what ingredients. Yes, we literally go to Whole Foods and Sprouts depending on who has the sale on what. So sometimes we get our fruits from or produce from Whole Foods when it's cheaper at Whole Foods than it is at Sprouts, and then vice versa. So yeah, we just research. Most grocery stores have an app where you can do this. So once you make your grocery list, then you need to write down on that grocery list how much you need of everything. So how many ounces of meat do you need? How many meals do you need it to spread out through? And then do the same with the vegetables and the carbs and even your fruit. Figure out what you want for your fruit and even for your snacks. Then you want to write down any seasonings you would need and any additional ingredients. And then something that you do need to keep in mind is keep it simple, especially if you have a really busy schedule. I mean, yeah, if you're looking in a Rachel Ray cookbook, you're probably going to find recipes with 20 plus ingredients and some that you've never even seen or heard of before, which means you're probably biting off more than you can chew. So stick with simple recipes with a small number of ingredients. And there are cookbooks out there. I know Bobby Parrish has a cookbook that has like 5 ingredient meals. It tells you kind of what brands to look for because, you know, we want clean stuff in our food, not dirty, nasty stuff. You can even Google stuff. Like most of the stuff in my meal planning book are things that I've Googled and was like, okay, let me try this. Sometimes they work, sometimes they suck. And then we just sort through it, throw stuff away, keep stuff, move on. And as I mentioned earlier, one thing that we do is we rotate through the same meals for a few months at a time. So maybe for like 3 months, we'll do stir fry steak salad. Then we'll do burgers with the the soda bread bun. We'll call it. It's not really a bun. It's like a slice of soda bread that I made at home. Then maybe we'll do chicken wings, and then we'll do chicken thighs, and then we'll do pizza, homemade pizza or something like that. So we just kind of rotate through those same meals. That way we don't have to think too much about what we're doing, and we get really good at them. So then they taste really good and we don't want to stop eating it right away. Another way to keep it simple is like doing a protein, pick your seasonings, keep the seasonings the same every time you cook this thing. Decide if you're going to bake it or cook it on a pan on the stovetop. Season the veggies and either roast them or saute them in a skillet. And then just pick an easy starch like rice. You don't have to do potatoes all the time. Now, if you want potatoes, that's fine, but you don't have to do potatoes. You don't even have to do a starchy carb if you don't want to. My husband prefers we do, but I actually feel so much better when I don't. Now, if we do feel fancy, we will do something like homemade mac and cheese or homemade pizza, like I mentioned earlier. But at the end of the day, the less there is a mess for me to clean up, the less I am a mess for my husband to clean up. And this brings me to the actual meal prepping. This should be a few hours, 1 or 2 times per week. And we do too, like I said. But I am home all day until 4:30 when I leave for work. So I do have that flexibility to meal prep anytime during the week with my schedule. Not everybody has that. It should also be either a day, like I said, the day that you get your groceries or the next day, just so you have the freshest ingredients and don't lose motivation to actually do the cooking. Baking chicken is the easiest, I would say. Whether it's chicken wings, thighs, or breasts, you can put the whole thing on a baking sheet, season it up really well, and then pop it in the oven. And while that bakes, you can work on your green veggies and any other sides you want to add. Now, if you are married, the best part is you can split the responsibility. And my husband is the king of rice. It definitely helps that he grew up in an African household, so he's on rice duty. He's also the only one who can eat rice in the house right now. He is also kind of the meat master. We kind of split that role. But anytime we do like stir-fry steak salads or stir-fry steak tacos or actual stir-fry, and he's on the meat. And then unless he can't, where he's like at work or something and it's like we absolutely need a meal prep today, that's my job. I will do it then. But I am the slickest with the sides. So that is pretty much always my job unless I need him to like chop the broccoli up and bake the broccoli. But usually that's on me. Especially the fancier carbs. Now, if you have kids, I would encourage you to involve them in the process. 1, it's a good way to bond with them. 2, they'll learn a lot. And 3, it saves you some of the work. So why not? Teamwork makes the dream work. All right. Pro tips from an OCD person like myself, but also someone that has spent a lot of time in the kitchen and is really tired of the cleanup process. Clean as you go. That's all I got to say. I usually like to make sure all the dishes are done. So if there's any dishes in the sink or in the dishwasher's empty, clean, emptied, and then I get the sink cleared out, put everything in. That way I have room in the dishwasher. So as I cook, when I'm finished with the utensil or a dish, I can just rinse it off and then throw it in the dishwasher really quick. Out of sight, out of mind, out of the way. So I can just keep trucking through. It also helps to prep your ingredients before you even start cooking. So like I'm going to chop the broccoli up, put it in this bowl. I'm going to cut the steak up and put it in this bowl. I'm going to grate the cheese and put it in this bowl. Maybe I'll put the seasonings in this bowl, or like if I'm using bell peppers, chop those up and put them in that bowl. Stuff like that. That way it's there when you're ready for it, but also it helps you kind of keep your space clean and clear, because once you prep it and put it in a bowl, you can actually set the bowl aside, clean up the mess that prepping it makes, and then there it is. Nice, clean, organized area. And then from there, you can start cooking, and all you gotta do is just dump stuff. And I mean, that includes like if you have to have milk for, like when I make mac and cheese, I need milk, I need a little bit of flour, I need this seasoning, that seasoning, I need an egg, so I'll just like set everything out in the amount that I need. That way I can just dump, stir, and go, and I'm done. And then once I'm done with those bowls that everything's in, I just rinse it, put it in the dishwasher. Another thing I would suggest is try to time things out. So while that chicken is cooking in the oven, we're going to cook everything else. Everything's already prepped, so I just got to throw it together. And then everything should finish approximately at the same time. Now, if you have to bake if you're putting the broccoli in the oven to roast it, and then you're also baking the chicken, sometimes the temperature and then like you putting it on top or underneath can mess it up. So that might take a little bit longer, but it's really, really not that hard. Parchment paper is also your best friend. Saves you a lot of dishes, a lot of washing of pans, or baking sheets. And then once everything is done cooking, knowing how many meals that you need, you're going to weigh everything on a food scale. So put it in a bowl, put the bowl on the scale, and then put the food in the bowl as you're done with it, and just weigh it, and then get that total weight. And then, okay, I need 12 meals to last me X amount of days, right? So then I just take whatever the weight is in ounces, and then I divide that by 12. And then I know how many ounces per meal I need. Now, if you're like me and my husband, we store all the meat in one container once it's cooked, all the veggies in a container, all the starches in a container. That way, when we're ready to eat, we just pull out the container, scoop it onto our plate, put the plate on the scale, scoop it onto our plate, knowing how much we need of each thing, and then heat it up, eat it, voila, right? Or if you want, you can get individual meal prep containers. I highly suggest using glass containers to keep out all the toxins, ladies and gentlemen. And that will also be something like a grab and go thing. I don't like washing the lids. I feel like they're frustrating to get the crud out of the little crevices. So I'm not a huge fan of those meal prep containers. Also, they can take up a lot of space in the fridge, so it's easier to just put things in one giant bowl. And then all you have is like 3 giant bowls rather than a million little ones. So you can decide what you prefer. Of course, I also just feel like plates are easier to rinse off than those meal prep bowls. So might save some dishes, maybe not. I don't know. Now, maybe you don't have an afternoon to spare every week for meal prep. There is another option, and I'm sure there's more than just this out there, but you can do like the freezer meals that you just throw in a slow cooker. Basically, it's the same planning process that I mentioned earlier, but you have an arsenal of recipes that share common ingredients, and then once a month you will do a big grocery shop and then sit down to divvy out the ingredients into freezer bags based on what meal you're trying to cook. So if you want to do slow cooker honey chicken thighs with garlic broccoli or something like that, you'd put however many chicken thighs you would need, along with the honey, the minced garlic, the broccoli, and some kind of like chicken or veggie stock, and then throw it in the freezer. Same with the other recipes that you're going to use. And then in the morning, you would pick which one you want, throw it in the slow cooker, and it should be ready for you when you get home from work or wherever you're going. Easy peasy. Super easy. There are many options and many ways that you can meal plan and meal prep. Ultimately, you will have to just experiment and find out what works best for you. Hopefully this video gave you some good ideas that you can build off of. And at the end of the day, planning ahead will save you the stress and the struggle of figuring out what to eat on any given day and trying to stay healthy on a busy schedule. It will help you build a healthy, happy home, as well as healthy, holy habits by simply taking the thinking and decision-making process out of cooking and eating and condensing it down to a few days out of your life rather than every day out of your life. And if you enjoyed this video, got anything valuable out of it, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and ring that bell notification so you can stay up to date on all things faith, fitness, and food. I will see y'all next time. Grace and peace.